Hello everybody, I'm Prince Philly, and today I'm going to be doing something I haven't done since like October. I'm going to be reviewing a book. Which book? Oh, it's on top of it. This book. It's called Far, Far Away. So I was exposed to this book a while back. I came across this book was kind of like this. I was on the phone with my editor and I was telling her about how I didn't like my book and how I didn't like this, that, and the other about it and how I wanted it to be, better. What made her suggest this story to me was the way I plan on telling my story, which I'll get into that later. But yeah, that's how I was introduced to the book. Now, what was my first impression of this book? I think it could use a better name. Personally, my own book is a little bit in the same boat, and this is called a fundamental attribution error, so just pay attention to this. I feel like my situation is different because my title is something meaningful to me, and I do feel like it's a little bit more creative, I guess. Whereas, the title Far, Far Away is a pretty usual phrase. It's something, if you're alive, you've heard it before. If you read a fairy tale, you've heard the phrase. And that kind of brings us to the main topic. This book is heavily themed around fairy tales, which is something I really do like. So what do I mean by themed around fairy tales? I'll give you a summary of the plot, and you'll probably get it from that. The main character of the story is Jeremy Johnson Johnson. Two Johnsons because both his parents' last name were Johnson, and Johnson's a pretty normal, usual name you come across, and they both wanted to keep their last name, and if you picked one Johnson, then nobody would know which Johnson they chose, and it's a mess. But, yeah, his name is Jeremy Johnson Johnson, or Triple J, or Jeremy JJ. Anyone you want. Nobody calls him anything other than Jeremy. Anyway, Jeremy Johnson Johnson has a special power. Jeremy is able to hear the voices of dead people. He's been doing it for quite a while, so long that even when a dead person hits him up like, hey, do you want to be friends? He's kind of just like, yeah, sure, whatever, and they just wait until the dead person passes on to the next life. His most recent friend, Jacob Grimm, as in the Brothers Grimm, as in those guys who rewrote a lot of childhood fairy tales into seriously twisted versions of them. Rewrote. That's a fun fact. Everybody says theirs was like the first. A lot of their stuff was just rewrites, and they say that in the book. They fix that misconception, which I really like that too. I guess now the title kind of makes sense that he's talking with a fairy tale author, but still, my offer still stands. Jeremy is a very down and out boy, and with the help of Jacob Grimm and Ginger, a red-headed cliche-breaking love interest, they'll kind of work together to help him live out his life in the era-ambiguous city known as Never Better. I say era-ambiguous because it's kind of hard to tell what, like when I read books I like to tell what era they're in, and this book is really hard to do it. They have cars, so it's at least 1920s. They also have TVs, so it's at least 1960s. But then the kids kind of do whatever they want, which is a thing from like nowadays. But then they also don't mention things that kids nowadays have, like computers and cell phones, which is really weird. The book was written in 2013, well, published in 2013, so I don't know, there's some kind of thing for it. Anyway, Jeremy will eventually grow to be a capable man who will help his father keep the bookstore that he owns, as well as the house, because they're poor and, banks like to take people's stuff that they gave to people. I don't like that phrase. I don't like saying that at all. So yeah, that's the plot. Now, I did like the book. It was very well written, which I even took some advice from, I learned a lot from reading it, I think I've gotten a little better as a writer for reading it too. But back to what I said at the beginning. The book takes place from the eyes of Jacob Grimm, not from Jeremy. So Jacob Grimm being omnipresent and always there and being able to go wherever he wants, he's able to, not make any noise or not have to eat or not have to sleep or have to excuse himself. He's able to go wherever and tell whatever, which really helps the story out. It's the best thing about the story, in my opinion, the way it's told through his eyes. Jacob's actually really nosy. I think my favorite part of the book was when he followed one of the other characters around because he likes to follow the extras. Well, not the extras, but like the side characters. He likes to follow them around, and he followed this boy home just to see what his life was like. And like this kid was described as like weird and doughy and just, you know, just weird. And because of that, like his relationship with his parents turned really weird. Like his dad, like, literally left him like in his mom because he just couldn't stand to look at his son. And then like because of that, the mom and his relationship get really close, and it's like really weird the way they talk to each other, and it's so dramatic, and I don't know, it's awkward to the point where even the ghost is like, I can't stand this, and like leaves, which I thought was pretty funny. But yeah, I liked it. It's actually very close to the format of my book, being the whole omnipresent being talking and narrating. You know, in this book, when Jeremy and Ginger are at the park, Jacob is there and he's narrating it. When Al and his friends are in the forest, the narrator is there watching and talking about what's going on in the forest. So I don't know, that's something I really liked about it. It's a good book, and it's also helping me grow. So yeah. So thank you to my editor, I guess, because I would have never heard of or read this book. Anyway, yeah, the biggest issue with me was the title. I didn't really like the title. Ginger was kind of annoying in a bit of an anti-cliche kind of way, but I think that was on purpose. The book is purposely filled with like stereotypes. Like it has the high school jock that's in love with the main girl, and the main girl doesn't love him back. It has the dead parent, and it has the parent whose heart was broken, so now they're kind of like a vegetable. And it even has the jolly baker. So it's basically a fairy tale, you know. But they're, you know, they all eventually break their stereotypes too, which makes it even weirder. Actually, might be overthinking this. I'm gonna go with that. Anyway, that's far, far away. Yeah, pretty good book. I would recommend it, to be honest. I really would. It's a modern take on classic fairy tales. You know, it's more to it than kid who can hear ghosts is poor and needs to save his house from the bank. You know, he goes on like a game show, and then he gets kidnapped. So like it tells a really good story, to be honest. It's like a slice of life. You know, you ever watch one of those TV shows? It's a sitcom with like fairy tale themes. That's what I'm going with. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you can, you know, go ahead, pick up the book. It's pretty good. If you have read it, tell me what you think. And if Tom McNeal is out there watching this, I really hope I didn't butcher your name. Sorry, dude. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.